show.
Back to the show.
Back to the show. ICRT, where we've got it going on.
Died last night in my dreams, walking the streets of some old ghost town. I tried to believe in God and James Dean, but Hollywood sold out. Saw all of the saints lock up the gates I could not enter. Walked into the flames, called out your name, but there was no answer. And now I know my heart is a ghost town. My heart is a ghost town.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to ICRT, the midday show with Joey, and here we have, as promised, for the whole entire day, the highlight, really, of the show, and we have Adam Lambert here on the phone with us. Adam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am very well, and Adam currently is in the UK. He's rehearsing with Queen, and let me just set things up for you guys. I'm sure you've heard that starting back in 2 or 3 years ago, this whole thing started with Adam performing with Queen, and of course himself as a singer-songwriter and part-time stage actor, I suppose. But of course, you won't forget his performance at American Idols, which eventually got the attention of Queen to perform with them at the finale, at the final stage. His career then launched with quite a few albums. But I dare say the highlight so far of his career now, he gets to perform with Queen on behalf of Freddie Mercury. And this show is going to come to Taiwan on the 19th of December, so very shortly now. Of course, a couple of very obvious questions for Adam is, first off, have you ever been to Taiwan before?
No, I have not been to Taiwan before, and I'm really, really curious. I always like visiting new places and experiencing new cultures and connecting with my fans in these new places. So I think it's long overdue, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's best to visit a country as a clean slate, so you have no expectations, and everywhere you go, you're just surprised.
Yeah, I agree.
So I had a chance to talk to Brian the other day, and he said, it was friends that told him about you and your performances. But on your side, what's the story?
Well, obviously, Queen is one of the most legendary rock bands of all time. So I had heard Queen.
Of course.
and actually, I chose a Queen song to audition for American Idol with.
That's right, yeah.
Back in 2009, and I sang Bohemian Rhapsody, and I believe that Brian and Roger heard this audition and became aware of me. And then by the end of the season, when I made it to the finals, producers actually invited them to come and perform on the show. So I got to meet them, and we sang We Are the Champions, and there was an instant connection for sure. Once I started playing the song, we all sort of were making eye contact, and I think the subtext was sort of like, okay, this feels right. So, some time passed, I put out my first album, and then I got a call saying, hey, we're going to be doing a performance at the MTV European Music Awards. Would you like to come and sing a handful of songs with us? And that was the beginning. And from there on out, one thing came, and then another thing came, and it just slowly started building up, and our relationship grew, and eventually we got to the point where we decided to do a full-on tour.
But this whole successful worldwide tour didn't start until 2014, so you guys really mulled over this collaboration for quite a long time, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool because it's really evolved, our relationship. At this point, it's amazing. We did some shows earlier this year. We took a few months off to do some other stuff, and now we're back at it. And it just feels like no time has passed. It is such a great family feeling for us on stage. A lot of jokes, a lot of humor, and it's great because, obviously these songs for Roger and Brian, they've been playing them for a very long time. They wrote them years and years ago. And over the last 4 or so years, they've become more second nature for me because, they were new to me as a performer when I started. So now when we get on stage together, it's great because it's very comfortable. Because we know each other so well, because we trust each other, we're able to really play and to experiment and to enjoy it 100%.
You've gotten comfortable with it. A lot of the fans, I'm sure, at the very beginning, it's always hard to accept someone to take Freddie Mercury's place. But seeing some of your performances, I'm sure a lot of these arguments have quilled. I'm sure a lot of people are very happy with what you've done with the songs, eh?
I think so, yeah. In the beginning when we first started, I was pretty apprehensive. I didn't know what the fans would say, and I didn't know if the band would accept me fully. I didn't know if I was capable of pulling off all this amazing music. And so in the beginning, I was actually pretty terrified.
Of course.
I tried not to show it, but I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I think a lot, the critical and reception and the fan reception has been really positive. And yeah, no matter where we go, people really love the show. And I think the most important thing for me was to always remind the audience and communicate to them that Freddie is irreplaceable. There's no other Freddie Mercury, and there never will be.
Right.
I'm such a fan and so inspired by Freddie as a singer, as a writer, and as a person that I try to get on stage and celebrate his memory with the fans. And I think that they understand that when I explain that to them.
Right, and you know what? I think you would be happy to hear that when Brian talked about you, he said nothing but good things. In fact, he said something about you that I thought was rather interesting. Brian mentioned that it used to be back in the old days, because they would do tours and concerts after concerts, so sometimes you can't sing everything to 110%. And Brian says, Freddie would, if you watch any of his live shows, sometimes Freddie would sing around it, and he called you a little bit stubborn because you would want to sing everything to the album caliber. You want to sing everything to the album level. Is that a principle that you hold yourself to?
To a point, yeah. I guess the way I look at it is, Freddie had every right to sing it however he wanted because he wrote the song.
Right.
and he's the originator, so it's his right to sing it however he wants. I think one of the things that I thought very early on, with being accepted by the fans, in this very high scrutiny type of situation, was I was like, well, if I'm taking all of these notes down and making it easier, I don't know if that's going to go over very well for me, because I have a lot more to prove.
Yeah, I hear you. So how do you channel your inner Freddie Mercury then?
I guess, the more I learn about him, the more I realize there's some similarities, I think, in our personalities and sort of what we love and the way we look at the world. And I always try to examine the song as what it's trying to communicate to the audience.
Right.
Or what the writer was feeling, and I've asked a lot of questions to Brian and Roger about why is this a lyric, what is this about here, and I really try to make that clear in the performance. So I think that's sort of my mission.
Okay, I think a lot of fans are happy to know that. So you did a lot of study, basically, to understand.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you about the songs then, because there are a couple of tracks from Queen that is written for the most part for Freddie Mercury. For example, The Show Must Go On, or the one after he passed, No One But You, Only the Good Die Young. Are you going to perform those songs here in Taiwan or, say, Tel Aviv at your first show?
The Show Must Go On is part of the set, yes. We love that song. There's another song called I Was Born to Love You that we love.
Right.
That'll be kind of something we don't always do, but we're going to be doing that one. The set is ever evolving as well. It changes. So we have a lot of fun with that. We'll make changes throughout the run. We'll be like, hey, let's put this song over here. Let's do this one tonight and not this one. It keeps it fresh for us.
Okay.
The thing that's cool about rock and roll is that it's not perfect. It's rough around the edges, and it's got sort of an impromptu kind of quality to it, So yeah, it definitely has a spirit of in the moment, and I think that everyone loves that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think you're ever going to make a new song with Roger and Brian?
I don't know. I mean, I never say never. You never know what would happen. It's not in the books right now, and it's hard because the hits that they have, that the audience loves so much, those are so much fun to play and so much fun to perform, and it's like, how would we write something to compare to those songs? It's sort of it's sort of daunting. So
yeah, that's true. And one last request. One of my favorite Queens is Fat Bottom Girl. Do you think you can give us just a couple of lines from the hook?
No, you're going to have to come see it in person.
Oh, all right. That is the right answer. I hear you. All right, Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we can't wait to see you on the 19th of September. Of course, you're embarking on your first trip to Tel Aviv and then coming Asia side. You have yourself a nice start to the tour, and we'll see you then, okay?
See you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.